This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. I actually thought of another quarterback that we should throw in here, and I'm going to bring him up with Larry Williams here in just a moment. Had a chance to catch up with Larry over the weekend in Greensboro. Want to talk some Clemson football. He joins us down the Higginbotham hotline at 8 o'clock Wednesday, July the 2nd, hour number 2 underway on Mac and Cube in the morning. Larry, we were talking how being like a super ripped up quarterback in college often doesn't work because everyone's going nuts about how John Mateer looked at the Manning Passing Academy. Trevor Lawrence was like almost that. I don't feel like he was like Dan Kendra, Will Levis, Jim Druckenmiller type ripped up, but he was kind of almost that stature when he played QB at Clemson. So he would almost fall into the could be successful, still looking like a muscle and fitness model playing quarterback in college.
Yeah, the angle there that I think of is Trevor's predecessor, Deshaun Watson, when he arrived at Clemson in the spring, or I guess the winter of 2014. He was like 175 pounds. And so everybody knew he was going to be great, but the objective was to gradually thicken him up over his first couple of years. And they didn't want to, I think it even played into their usage of him early that season. Deshaun, I'm speaking of here, because they played at Georgia. They didn't want to throw him in there right away and risk his confidence being shattered early on, but they also didn't want to get him broken in half. And so you fast forward to Trevor, who you were talking about, when he got to Clemson in 2018, he was much thicker, much more prepared physically, just with his frame. That even extends to the quarterback Clemson has right now, freshman Tate Reynolds, who is, from all accounts, going to push Christopher Vezina for the starting job. He looks like a third-year guy physically. So, yeah, really interesting angle there you have with just how ready guys are, what they look like, all the varieties of that.
Can you take us a step further as to just sort of where you feel like that Clemson quarterback situation is right now?
Oh man, it's close. I think, you could just, if you wanted to just go on the surface level insights and observations given publicly by Dabo Swinney, I think you could say some pretty profound things just based on that alone, simply because Dabo Swinney, he came out of spring saying it's really close. And that's profound to me in that everybody knows how much he sticks with his guy, his anointed pole position veteran who's paid his dues, talking about Vezina here, who's been here for 3 years. I mean, that was the case when Kelly Bryant was here and Trevor Lawrence was a freshman. It was the case when Cole Stout was here and Deshaun Watson was the freshman. And so I think that's interesting by itself. But then when you go deeper beneath the surface and you talk to folks in the building, quite a few folks think it's only a matter of time before Tate Reynolds is the guy. Is that the 6th game, 5th game? Could it be within the game, the opening game at LSU? I think all that's on the table.
We're visiting with Larry Williams. Tiger Illustrated covers the Clemson football team, does it extremely well. Congrats on your award over the weekend, by the way.
Likewise.
When we start talking about Dabo Swinney and today's college football, a lot of people feel like those are miles apart. There have been some conversations recently about where Clemson is headed in sort of the new direction of the sport and of college athletics. What is changing? What are some of the bridges that are being closed here, being sort of gapped with where Clemson was, where Clemson is as it pertains to NIL, transfer portal, things of that nature?
Well, we know that the transfer portal definitely some adaptations. They got 10 during the most recent cycle. That seems like that's a bonanza compared to what previously was allowed or what materialized. I will say that quite a few folks think that they should have gotten a number a bit more, quite a lot more. Most of those, I guess 9 of those were on the defensive side, just 1 on the offensive side, that being Chris Johnson Jr., the former SMU running back. You could make the argument they should have gotten multiple offensive linemen, maybe another running back, and then the most prominent one is quarterback. There aren't many people in that building who truly believe they should have stood pat at quarterback. They had the money to go out and become quarterback, but Dabo Swinney, he basically, he made the decision not to, and that's a decision that, for better or worse, and I'm open to either of those extremes materializing. He's going to either get the credit or the blame, 100% of that. More recently, they're on a recruiting binge with their 2027 recruiting class, and that's definitely the product of them devoting a lot more money to high school recruiting. I think they've allocated at least double what they allocated last year to last year's high school recruiting class. So I think Dabo's sort of letting his hair down on some of that as well, sort of backing down from his belief he has articulated in recent years that, hey, we're not going to give you a lot of money until you come here and prove it. They're clearly giving some large chunks of money to or committing themselves to large chunks of money to some high school guys who have yet to prove it at the college level. So I think they're in the game for sure, which is, I think, the complaints of a lot of Clemson folks in recent years, and even, some skepticism of folks like you, more broadly, very fair skepticisms. I think they've done quite a lot to address that and to sort of modernize in various respects.
We're visiting with Larry Williams, covers the Clemson football team, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. All right, so let's pause on this version of Clemson. And since we're sitting here in the middle of the summer, far removed from last year, you've had time to reflect on it, look back on it, maybe think about it in different ways than we discussed when we had you on during the season, even just after the season. What do you kind of look back on now, Larry, as some of the things that were problematic? Essentially, why we got what we got versus what we thought we were going to get with last year's Clemson football team.
I think Dabo Swinney's postscript that he shared right around draft time, when Clemson had 9 guys drafted, a record in the first 5 rounds for Clemson. There's no way to sugarcoat that, and Dabo Swinney, to his credit, did not try to. He said it was an absolute failure. He said it was all his fault. Everything was his responsibility. And, I think surface level, you look at quarterback, they clearly did not have the quarterback play that they needed to really achieve highly. The defensive line wasn't the overwhelming force that I think a lot of people thought it was going to be with the return of Peter Woods and TJ Parker. I think, though, sort of more programmatically, so to speak, deeper issues of entitlement and comfort. I think it took a lot of, that humbling that Dabo himself and a lot of other folks experienced last year with that season, just with the abject failure that it was when you go in with a top 5 ranking and you finish with 6 losses. And honestly, Cole, people talk about, including Dabo, says, hey, we lost 3 games by a total of 11 points or whatever it was, so we weren't far from being a lot better. Well, they also won several close games. They were really close to having a 4-win season. I mean, honestly. And so I think that brought a lot of, I guess maybe sobriety that wasn't present in the past. And I think there's a lot more accountability now. It certainly seems. He brought in Chad Morris, who is much more of a no-nonsense guy who I think has laid down the law, not just with the players under him, but the assistant coaches under him. My biggest question, all that sounds good, is you have a lot more reality being imparted during the off season behind the walls of that program. But is that entitlement and comfort, I think, that I referenced earlier, that they all acknowledged was the case, is that so deeply rooted that it's not really possible to completely cleanse that over one off season? That's my biggest question, and I think that's a fair question.
I think it's beyond a fair question, and I think the harder question there, Larry, is how do you do that as a coach? If you have a bug, a virus that has infiltrated your building, a problem, whatever that is, how do you know? How can you ensure yourself it's gone? Is it individuals? Is it assistant coaches? Is it the way that you do things? Now, he's done it right enough to where I think he should have confidence that he should be able to get it right and be able to fix it and sort of get things turned around. But when you look at the team, there's a lot of reasons to be confident. We mentioned the quarterback situation, which will be a question mark, but you got skill coming back. The O-line has a lot of experience. The front seven should be solid. Where do you look at this team outside of quarterback and say, well, that still has to be a major concern if you're talking about competing for an ACC title again?
Well, you mentioned, they still have talent. They've really substantially upgraded the talent through the portal at safety and defensive back as a whole, which was their gaping weakness last year. They certainly have talent out at receiver and some at running back. But, you said the offensive line brings back a lot of experience. I think that's, they lost a lot of experience, right? So they have some returning guys, but they're going to have to get lucky in avoiding injuries. They're going to have to get lucky on the offensive line with guys who don't have experience elevating to be dependable pieces. And so they also have big questions at defensive tackle. That was Tom Allen's, the defensive coordinator. His biggest concern coming out of spring was defensive tackle, in part because they lost Courtney Kelly, a transfer to a torn ACL suffered during spring practice. So as you look at it, certainly, as I said, plenty of talent returning, but the question marks start to add up at some very vital areas. Quarterback, unknown. Offensive line, can they really generate enough of a running game, consistent enough of a running game to really unleash the arsenal of schematics that Chad Morris would love to do, sort of spreading the field horizontally and vertically? Then you add to that defensive tackle. Those are substantial questions, I think. And when you put them all together, it's like, boy, I don't know. I think the benefit or the positive is that you play in the ACC. You have some breaks, I think, in the schedule. But then again, last year they were more talented than a lot of teams that were giving them fits and teams that beat them. Syracuse came into Death Valley and just ran circles around them in the first half. So I don't think it's purely a matter of talent. As we get back to what we were talking about earlier was, how much can be truly cleansed. And, who else is there left to fire? Dabo Swinney has fired lots of coaches in the last 3 years. And so I guess the bottom line is we're going to learn a lot about this program sort of long term coming up this fall.
Larry, great stuff, man. Appreciate the time. It's always good catching up with you. It was good to see you over the weekend, and we'll do it again soon.
And, hey, congrats, Cole. You much deserved. You do a wonderful job over there, so congrats on your award as well.
Thanks. I appreciate that. We'll catch up soon. Larry Williams, TigerIllustrated.com. You can find his work there. Covers the Clemson Tigers. Does a great job with it. He mentioned the ACC, other teams. I think it's a fair question to ask this with the ACC. How many are going to be better potentially than they were a year ago? Because I think there's a better chance that more teams in the ACC go backwards than they go forwards this upcoming season. Not to be overly negative about the conference, it's just you had more teams extend last year than we think. Virginia's winning 11 again. I'm not going to stand up for that. Now, I think SMU could get past 9, but I think it could be similar to last year. Is Miami getting past 13? I don't know if Pitt and Georgia Tech are going to be 8 and 9 win teams again. With what Duke lost, can they win 9 again? I think Cal has a chance to go past 7. Clemson has a chance to go past 7. I don't think Louisville's just going to be better than a 9-win team. I don't think Wake's getting past being a 9-win team. Now, Virginia Tech better than a 3-win team? Probably. Syracuse better than a 3-win team? Probably. So maybe a couple of the bottom feeders last year turn into 500 or a little bit better teams, but it feels more like more teams going backwards than more teams taking big leaps in the ACC this upcoming season, just based on what's been gained and what's been lost. But as we've talked about before, and as Larry just pointed out with Clemson, some of the unknowns of these teams that we cannot find, predict, even really discuss until we see them on the field, and that is continuity, chemistry, wherewithal, togetherness, leadership. We don't know those things about these teams. We're not going to. What we do know is that some of the numbers with sports gambling are staggering, eye-opening. I need to know your thoughts on them. Where are we right now with sports gambling? Is it awesome? Is it too much? Panic button? Be careful? Hit the gas? 800-239-9569, 205-834-9450 to text in, tweet in at Mac and Cube. We'll discuss it right after this on Jocks.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, three-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.
All right, where are we as it pertains to sports gambling? We don't talk about it a ton on this show. Sorry, I just got a text from one of tomorrow's guests that'll be entertaining to bring that up. Tomorrow we have Josh Pate, Brad Golly to talk North Dakota State's move to Division I. He'll talk Michigan. Sam Niederman will talk North Dakota State. And then the coach, Wimp Sanderson, all on tomorrow's show. That'll be our last show of the week as we get set for 250. What are you doing different for 250? I need to know. We haven't had anyone say they're doing anything different other than maybe staying up for fireworks because they start so late. Let us know. All right, so some of the numbers around sports gambling. And again, I don't come at this from a, hey, we have a problem, or hey, society is burning, or hey, look how great. Look how point spread. I don't know. I am not heavily entrenched in this. Greg does a great job of bringing this up because he's much more educated on it than me. I have had multiple massive failures from a sports gambling perspective in my life, so mine is very limited this day and age. I've had a couple of massive wins. I have done a much better job of being very selective and picking out a couple of things over the course of a season as opposed to just going full shotgun spray. Let's go full Brennan Sorsby on this weekend's games and see how we can do. That does not go well for me often. It just doesn't. Where are you right now from a sports gambling perspective, John? Like, just to give people some context here.
I'm someone that has never really had an issue with it. I mean, I'm from New Orleans, so gambling's been around my life like the entire time. I partake a decent bit. Am I on the Brendan Sorsby level? No, but I bet on World Cup yesterday.
Wow. So, what did you wager?
$5.
On?
It was a parlay. It was France to win, Mbappe to score, and Mbappe to score first.
I know France won.
Yeah.
Did he score?
Yeah. And yeah, it all hit. So I made, I think, $13.
On a $5 bet?
Yeah.
See? That's it?
Yeah. I mean, they were an overwhelming favorite. And
I don't care. For him to score first, though?
That's what made it go up to 13. If I had not done that, it'd been like I'd have won $6.
Again, I'm not educated on the topic to an extreme, but that sounds stupid. But hey, you won, so it doesn't matter.
Correct. Right. Really, it was to take advantage of the deal. But yes, it was. Yeah, correct.
Damian?
I don't have a problem with it.
Oh no, I'm not asking. I'm asking like how involved you are in it right now.
Right now, none. But as far as like in the season,
Football season.
yeah, I'm pretty active.
Yeah,
Couple
usually,
bets a weekend.
That's about me. Yeah.
More than 10. Under 10 a
Under.
weekend. Under 10 a
10.
weekend.
No
Oh,
more
one.
than 3.
Right.
Yeah,
How many are
it's
on
a
the
couple.
Titans?
None. I don't bet on the Titans.
Why? You know they're going to lose?
No.
I don't bet on it, even though we guaranteed Cam Ward to win an MVP in 3 years, and they're going to the Super Bowl and they're making the playoffs.
Well, those are
this
long
year.
shot odds. I don't bet.
Yeah,
on
if
the
you
Titans.
bet your verbalizations on the show, you'd be in big trouble. Big trouble.
No. But I'm reasonable.
Let me throw some numbers at you guys because I feel like most people think, all right, 2018, we legalized this in a lot of places. Things have been great since. Like people are having fun with it. It's more a part of the conversation. There's some clarity. But with that clarity comes the Alabama State deal, comes Malik Beasley the other day, comes Brendan Sorsby. Like that also we start figuring out some of this stuff ain't it. I mean, we're looking at our second massive gambling issue in the NBA in the last, 2 years?
Yeah.
3 years? Big problem. And as Greg has stated before about the NFL, what's the one thing that can bring it down?
That'd be the gambling.
Integrity of the game.
Yeah.
That's it. And so some people already don't believe a lot of what the NBA is doing. I think some of that talk is foolish, but nonetheless. In 2025, and some numbers were released earlier this week is why I wanted to bring this up because I saw a lot of people have a lot of strong opinions on it. 2025, $165 billion were wagered by Americans. Now, John, this next portion of this context is almost more for you because I want to get your thoughts on what you think about this. You might say $165 billion. Okay, I don't know where it was before. What is that?
No, that feels like a lot.
$165 billion wagered in 2025. More than movies, books, concerts, and sports tickets combined. Americans wagered more than they spent on movies, sports tickets, books, and concerts combined.
Well, yeah. How often
Sounds about right.
How often do you get a chance to go see Fetty Wap and get paid?
True.
All right, I'm going to read Project Hail Mary. Ooh, there's a $20 bill at the end of it. That ain't happening. You're going for the
Well,
entertainment.
based on what was bet and lost, maybe we should be buying more gambling books.
Maybe. Huh? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe so.
Maybe some did.
Correct. With the winnings that they got.
Isn't there a How to Beat Blackjack book out there? Like some people might want to go buy that.
You would think, yeah. But that is fascinating because
I do feel like what you're referencing, the ease in which you can place a bet now compared to go see a movie.
that helps.
Now,
yeah,
there are
yeah.
some you can just stream right away.
Correct,
So
right,
that's
yeah.
easier.
Right.
Books, you can obviously get that on your Kindle or your phone, like right now. Concerts, you can't do that on your phone.
Right, yeah.
Like,
Right.
I mean, I guess you could watch one at home, whatever, but like nobody wants to do that. But to hear that from an entertainment perspective, that is ahead of all those things put together. It's
wild but not surprising.
yeah. Now projections are out for 2026.
Oh boy.
Joey Baratano, he is a data-driven newsletter author on economics. He has 93,000 followers on X. You can follow him at Joseph Baratano. He says we are set to lose, not wager. Because some people would take that 165 billion wagered and say, well, hold on, that's a different number because that's not all lost.
Right.
Correct.
And there's some coming back, which is fair. I'm not trying to say that that's not part of the thing. He says we are set to lose 250 billion in 2026, which would be up 60% since 2019. 60% since 2019. Whew. So I asked the question to the listeners, 800-239-9569, because again, I'm not somebody who has a strong stance on this, a soft stance on this. I honestly don't care a ton about it. I just know that it's a part of the conversation for a lot of people that listen to our show, so we are going to involve it. I'm not an expert on it. I'm not the best at it. I'm not the worst at it. I'm not overly involved in it, but I'm also not going to say that I never take part.
Right.
But it's a part of how we are now discussing sports, and some people will tell you it's too much a part of the conversation. one of those people would be a professional golfer. Jordan Spieth had this to say over the weekend about how it is affecting crowds in events that he's competing in.
I mean, I think the one thing that I'll point out is I do think that betting in golf is something that's going to have to be tackled here soon, because I don't know how much of, say, the Wyndham scenario was the fact that it was enticing to bet the field versus Wyndham on Sunday in a legalized betting state, and you could have had people out there that are essentially, have $100 to $10,000 depending on who it is on the field versus somebody else. And in golf, it's tricky because you could actually impact the outcome if you wanted to. It may not last very long, but you could impact a shot if you wanted to. I don't know of another sport that you could impact as a fan like you can golf. So I don't know how much that's having to do with it, if it's different than it used to be. I've also played rounds with guys who were not treated well 10, 15 years ago. So I don't think it's a crazy new thing. I do think the Bethpage Ryder Cup was, from what I understand, maybe a lingering effect from that, with an American versus European, Cam Young, Fitzpatrick, the players. Like, I'm trying to single them out for you, but I wasn't a part of either one of them. But I will say that from what I've seen, a lot of times it has to do with betting, and that is in the last 5 years. So we'll see what happens with that.
Just a wild thought that I don't think any of us have taken into consideration. Mm-mm. That if you had Jordan Spieth to finish outside the top 10 and he's on 16 and he is in 9th place and you're standing 7 feet away from him, you can impact that. Or you and your 10 buddies that are all at the event together, you can impact that. Now, like you said, it might be a small impact. It might be massive.
Right.
But you have the ability to do that. There will be people who come in and say, well, I can go to an NBA and tell LeBron he's terrible, and I had him under 25 points. Okay. If you think that's the same, then cool for you.
Right.
I think we all know it's not. But if that's the way your brain operates, then we're not going to change it, so we're not going to try to do that today.
That's main character syndrome.
Probably. Yeah.
That's main character syndrome. 100%.
I don't know where that mindset falls with football, basketball, maybe tennis. I don't know. There could be a couple other out there that we could find. I don't think that's as much of a problem in some of the major sports that we're going to talk about, be it football, baseball, basketball, hockey, team sports essentially,
right,
with larger arenas that you're not able to be as close to the human beings that are competing. But it just throws in another part of the complex nature in which we are in right now. So when we come back, we'll ask you guys, 800-239-9569. You can also text into the show, 205-834-9450. I just want to know from the guys hearing from you, where do you think about where we are with it right now? Because we also know when we watch it, what are we getting? Advertisements for it all the time. Some of it looks beyond hypocritical with the way that it's covered and then what's happening. Like, would not surprise me if we go to break and get some sort of sports gambling commercial right after this and then I look like a clown because I didn't know that was coming next. But just trying to have an open conversation about it and where it is for all of us right now. We'll continue that next right here on Jocks.
The capital of the sports talk nation. This is Jocks 94.5 and JocksFM.com. Birmingham.
800-239-9569. You want to get in. 800-239-WJOX. And when you read different people online with where we are in sports gambling, I think it's the growth rate that has their eyes open, paying a little bit more attention to this. Joey Pelotano, who I referenced a little bit earlier, says states are responding to the gambling boom, but he thinks it's too slowly. Just in the last couple of years, major taxes on sports betting have been passed, but they're already tracking to raise more than $4 billion this year. So if you think states are going to push back on this because some of the issues it's causing, with those kind of taxes rolling in, probably not. But is there more that should be done? Limiting certain kinds of wagers, limiting the ways that casinos, sports books can advertise, maybe even banning collaborations between athletes, leagues, betting apps, etc. But another number that I did not share with you just a little bit earlier that has also come out of all this is diagnosis of gambling issues is up 60% since 2018 in states that legalize it. It's down 29% in states that did not legalize it. So, again, there are a lot of people that are going to hear that and they're going to roll their eyes. Some are just going to say it's not even a real thing. Okay. I'm just giving you numbers that people are reporting on. Other folks are going to say, man, that's a problem. And the fact that the amount that's set to lose this year is up 60% since 2019 feels like a lot to me.
It is.
That's a healthy amount.
It is.
So I asked the question to our listeners. I asked the question to you, 800-239-9569. Just where do you think we are with sports gambling right now? Just your general opinion. Do you love it? Are you concerned? Should we stop? Can we go backwards? Is this basically NIL for the public and we ain't putting the toothpaste back in the tube? Like, is that just it? John, where are we in your opinion right now from a sports gambling perspective?
I think it's like social media and AI. It's a part, and it's probably going to be here to stay.
Yeah.
And there may be some states and areas that say they may not want it, but then there can be some ways around it. And I'm not talking down on it because we just had a campaign with them, but something like DraftKings that, okay, you're not gambling, you're trading. But now that's a way to, because gambling is 99% illegal in Alabama, although there's some kind of ways that we've got some things, whatever, in here, but whatever, fine. Sports gambling is illegal in Alabama, but now you can trade. So there's a way, so they have found ways to make it available to the people that want to do it.
Correct.
So it's here, and I don't see it going anywhere.
And also, I'm under this impression too of, nobody's forcing you to do it. And I understand as far as marketing and commercials, advertising and things like that, you feel like it's being pushed towards you, but we also have free will. Like we live in a country where you have the freedom to do it or don't. Yep. I look at it from this perspective of, don't put anything that you're not willing to lose. Like if you got $20 and instead of, like going to a restaurant or you're, buying a movie ticket and you want to play and have a chance to possibly get some money off of it and then play. Like if not, hold your 20. Like you have free will to do whatever you want, but you have the access as well. And also the luxury of, back in the day, you could only do it in Las Vegas. You could only go to these certain places. Now you have the access where you don't even have to leave the comfort of your own home to do it. So some
people would tell you the flip side of that, though, is the problem is that it's too easy. And you take a guy like Brendan Sorsby, not picking on him here, right, but just we saw the amount of wagers that he placed mainly because of how easy it was, multiple burner accounts, probably from different devices, using that illegally to place bets over state lines, doing it through friends, that's a problem. It shouldn't be that easy. Shouldn't be able to go place a 4-team parlay on your phone at 2:00 in the afternoon. And that is part of what is going to or is right now a bigger problem.
No, but how many other things have we seen benefit of? Really, the way technology has advanced over the years has allowed things to be so much easier. You were able to do a fair amount of traveling over this last weekend because of technology in airplanes. When, if you think about it back, not even 100 years or so ago, like it was tough to just drive to and from some places.
Yeah.
No, it's totally fair.
And so with that kind of advancement, that a lot of that is to make life easier, and it does allow for more ease of access. I mean, how many research papers and stuff do we have to do, Cole, using World Book and Encyclopedia Britannica and all like that?
All of them.
When now kids can just type in a prompt and, hey, type my paper for me. Boom, it's done.
Correct.
But like Damian said, just because you have access to it or you have the capability of, doesn't mean that you should. It's up to you to have the choice, which probably the way society should be. Hey, we're giving you the option. If you want to do it, go ahead.
Cool.
But you don't have to.
Yeah.
And that's good. I mean, that's with everything in life, essentially. I mean, obviously you have to take care of your necessities. You have to pay your bills. You have to go to work. Well, some people don't think you have to go to work. Pete Moss tweets in, I lived down in Dothan when they first got the lottery. I've lived in Texas, Florida for quite some time. Probably averaged $10 a week. At this point, I've got to hit the next $1 billion jackpot to break even. Maybe not a 10 a week.
No. I mean,
should be okay.
For all the ruse, whatever that we say, that Dave Ramsey, we call him for that, he does say lottery a lot of times is a tax on the poor. Because there are a lot of people that feel like, oh, hey, this is how I'm going to get rich.
Yeah.
And
that goes with what Damien's saying, and a lot of people playing lottery probably don't have the means to be doing it.
Correct, right. Yeah.
But they think that's probably worth it because you had that. It's all that opportunity to hit big, right?
Yeah.
That's why you played a parlay. Why would you not have just bet Mbappe to have the first goal? It didn't pay more than all three hit.
I'd have bet $5 and won 503.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But now I wanted more money.
I'm not running card breaks if there's not a six-figure card to potentially hit in there. Yeah. If they're all $50 cards, no one's buying in.
Correct.
Like they're not.
Yeah.
Like you want to hit big in life, in everything. But sometimes I think that there are a lot of people that are saying with the way that it's pushed, the way that it's marketed, knowing essentially the enhancers in the brain that you're targeting and what it can lead to, that it's at a dangerous place right now. The numbers would lead a lot of people to believe that. But there's also the folks that, from a common sense perspective, like Damien said, like you don't have to go do this.
No.
I told you plain and simple, like I've learned my lesson. I've been super confident on enough to put a lot down and lost that it's like, we should probably not do that.
Right.
Like that's not the best idea for us to go. So it's just not something that I make a very regular occurrence all the time. There are a lot of people that would push back and say it's the only reason I'm interested. I watch because I can do that. Like I'm not watching Maction. I'm not watching CUSA. I'm not watching a 2-10 NFL team late in the year unless I got something on it. No disrespect to the Titans.
New look Pac-12 that starts today.
Yeah. It's back. Yeah, it's back.
So some people would say it's no problem. What are people saying via text on just kind of where they think we are with sports gambling right now, D?
Some people, somebody's texted and said it sounds like the best bet is to invest in gambling companies.
Can you?
Or trading companies, maybe.
Trading.
Right, yeah. There's one called Polymarket, which does not sound like a gambling company.
Somebody said I grew up 10 minutes from, was it Keeneland? In Lexington.
Keeneland, yeah.
In Lexington. When I was old enough to go, my dad told me to only take enough money that I could easily throw out the window on the way there.
Here's the thing. I'll say, like, we talked about this when Greg's been on the shore and we've had Dick Girardi on the shore. Like, I don't know how people bet on horses. I have no idea
at all.
Right, yeah.
Like, we've had Felica on and he's like, when the day Shogun start? Like, like whoever, like Brewmaster 5th Degree looks great this weekend. I'm like, huh? How do you know? I don't. And I've been to Keeneland and I've bet at Keeneland. Had no idea what I was doing. I mean, I thought, okay, sure, if you think so. Golden Goose to show. Okay, didn't. Lost, but yay.
To me, there's no difference in that in playing slots. Slots,
correct.
You're just sitting
I think
down.
you have a better chance of win playing slots.
Yeah. You're pushing a button and hoping the machine tells you you've won because you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're playing. You're just pushing a button and hoping that you win. I think it's the same for horse betting. It's like, okay.
Does anybody on via text think we got a big problem on our hands? Because it sounds like you guys are kind of like, hey, it is what it is. Like, it's there, but it's not our fault. Like, it's
somebody says it may be in Pete Rose's day, but today not so much because it would be foolish if you think that it doesn't happen in nearly every situation as far as gambling.
On Pete Rose's day, I would feel like it'd be worse because more people are getting arrested for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not getting in a lot of legal trouble for it. You're just
There was a time we couldn't say it on air here.
Yeah.
You couldn't say bet or wager or none of that.
I mean, you might not be able to pay your utilities, but okay. We can hop on DraftKings.
Right.
I guess it's just all how you view issues and problems.
I think the interesting thing will be the next, and maybe we're already starting to get numb to it now because we've already had multiple controversies in various sports, and yet we're like, man, that's affecting the integrity of the game. We're under 60 days till kickoff. Okay, bring it back. And maybe because it either hasn't affected our team or our players or maybe even someone we know.
It also hasn't, and again, I don't say this lightly as it pertains to all of it and what it is. It also hasn't impacted a game that a lot of people care a lot about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like Pistons Mavs in November, not a lot of people would give a rip about what happens in that game. We start talking about a Super Bowl or a Game 7 or an AFC Championship game or Game 6 of the World Series.
Right.
That's when it.
We're going to have some real problems on our hands then.
Somebody from New York says, they text in and says, I live in New York. We can't bet on New York college teams. I think it's probably to eliminate the insider information on it.
What would you say to, you know what, I'll say this
for in New Jersey. They could just go right across the street and do it there, but yeah.
It's a little longer trip than that, but yeah. What would you say to removing, I think I know what John's going to say based on what he told us he did yesterday, removing certain things that maybe lead to things being more problematic like that. I'll tell you what those may be. And is that part of the solution? Is that good, bad? Should that even be part of the responsibility of anybody involved? We'll discuss that next right here on Jocks.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, and three-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Should certain things be removed, as John brought up in certain states, and one of our listeners texting in says certain things you can't do in a state as it pertains to sports gambling. That's what we're talking about. It's kind of where it is right now. Where is sports gambling today? Do you limit the ways casinos can advertise? Do you ban collaborations with athletes? Do you remove certain types of wagers? Complex, high-margin bets like parlays, etc. Like, do you take that away? I'm not educated enough on all that to say, you know, that needs to be removed, or that's not fair, or that's not right. Now, I do know player props with where it looks like some of that's going with what some of these guys are doing. And you see videos of Malik Beasley down 9 sprinting up the court to get a layup.
Right.
With 2 seconds left in the game.
Yeah. It starts to bring a question.
Then you start to wonder. And I would imagine even in an instance like that, some people would say game's out of hand. They don't care. Do you care about anything other than the outcome of the game? Because some people would say, well, the outcome of the game wasn't affected there, so I don't care. A lot of money could have changed hands.
Mm-hmm.
And trust me, I was in Las Vegas when Jeff Capel hit a half-court desperation three that was not going to decide the game, that decided the change in hands of a ton of money because it covered the spread.
The old backdoor cover.
Mm-hmm. Brent Musburger used to say that was important to a lot of people.
Yep.
A lot of people. But honestly, if it didn't affect the game, do you care? If you saw something that appeared to be nefarious about a rebound, a bucket that was scored, whatever, a stolen base down 5 in the 9th inning of a game in which it maybe helped a parlay go through or a total basis wager go through that had no effect on the outcome of the game. Do you care? Because some people are going to say, no, that's integrity of the game that's being put in jeopardy right there.
I feel like people should because, it is ultimately altering the integrity of the game, but it's like you said before, they won't really care until that happens in a Game 6. If it comes out later that Joe Burrow was intentionally missing passes or trying to get Jamar Chase says place 800 for 2+ TD pass. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna throw it to him. Like if finds out he was trying to do that, okay, like then at that point, all right, now we have a problem. But the issue is, if we don't care about these little ones, then it's going to get to those big ones at some point, and then at that point it might be too late.
Some of the other work that Joey Politano did in this article is he looked at credit reports of millions of families in states that in 2018 legalized sports gambling, and delinquency in those credit reports has jumped over 50% in many of those states.
See, that's like, don't risk the money that you're not willing to lose. Like you just, I don't know. Like I don't like hearing things like that.
Sometimes it's a hard lesson to learn, Damian.
Right.
Sometimes it's too late.
And it seems, I mean, yeah, you go through life and it seems so simple, but it's also like I'm more of a parlay guy. Like it's a small risk for a big reward. So I'll have anywhere between like a 7 to 10 team parlay, but I'm only betting small amounts because I know the payout, and I understand the more that you risk, the more that you could win. But also it's a reasonable thing. Like I can bet $5 to win, 100 or like 500, 550, depending on who I place in there. But like it's you have to be strategic, but also just like you can't go in there thinking like this is going, like I know this is going to hit.
And I'm not blaming this on like the schooling, but for various things about adulthood, like we had some education in school or whatever. Mm-hmm. Hey, do this, don't do this, or whatever. But with things like social media, with things like gambling, like there's no way to get that. I don't say education, but other than maybe like your
it's
parents,
almost
like,
real life NIL.
Yeah.
We didn't put the key in, open the door, and say, all right, guys, we're getting ready to head in here. Like, get your flashlight or get ready for whatever's inside. We put a brick of C4 on the door and said, have at it.
Yeah.
We don't know what's coming out. We could be going to the upside down world of Stranger Things here. We might be going to Mr. Rogers' house. But here we're about to blow it up, and guess what? Figure it out. And maybe that's the problem, John, is like a lot of this is just figure it out. And we don't know how to figure it out because we hadn't had it.
Right.
Like, how does a 21-year-old that just got out of college and is making $60,000 a year, which some people would laugh at, but that's more money than they've ever had in their life, has a ton of free time on their hand, and is in Tennessee, we'll say, and can sit there and go look at 15 wagers on today's World Cup action that they also don't know anything about.
Right.
What did his parents talk to him about that?
Right.
Because his parents probably didn't grow up having those options.
Correct. Or wagering on balls and strikes in the Cincinnati Reds baseball game.
I wouldn't wager anything on the Reds if I were you.
That's just throwing away money.
Stay away from that. Unless it was against them.
Damien like losers. Reds, Titans, man. You're a glutton for. Why
I'm
don't you
loyal
like
to
the
soil,
Jets?
man.
Whew.
I'm loyal to the soil.
You like me. You love misery.
Team that's 13.5 games back, I would say.
It's a long season, baby.
It's
a long season.
It doesn't look great, though.
It's still almost over, too.
Doesn't look great. So, a great conversation. We'll talk to Christy Doss about where NIL is headed next on Jocks.
This is McElroy and Cubelic in the morning.
You didn't start a business just to keep the lights on. You're here to sell more today than yesterday. You're here to win. Lucky for you, Shopify built the best converting checkout on the planet. Like the just one tapping, ridiculously fast acting, sky-high sales stacking, champion of checkouts. That's the good stuff right there. So if your business is in it to win it, win with Shopify. Start your free trial today at shopify.com/win.